We are going to go to the Pizza at intercrust.com phone lines. That is, as it is 5:35. We are joined by James Dotson of the 360 Sports Network. James, how are you?
Doing well. Trying to stay warm. It's not going too well.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
It's cold out there, James.
Not going to get any better anytime soon either. But, hey, you know what? It just means it's hockey season, I guess.
Yeah, it's perfect time for hockey.
Well, speaking of, the Penguins have their home opener tonight. We talked to Ack about this about an hour ago. Were you also surprised how big the reaction was to the return of the sport?
You know, I was a little surprised just that more with the TV viewings and the ratings there. I was not surprised that we had sellouts in pretty much every single NHL arena because hockey fans are definitely the most diehard fans that are out there, and those are the ones who are going to the arena every week. There's something about football that you get a lot more of the casual fans who just randomly say, hey, I'm going to a Steelers or a Browns game this weekend, whereas the Penguins fans and the Blue Jackets fans and everywhere, you have fans who are going to those games who go religiously every single week no matter what. The season ticket holders don't get rid of their tickets very often, and those are the ones who are the real fans of the sport. I'm not surprised that they were there.
Yeah, I know even tonight for the home opener in Pittsburgh, I know the doors opened at 5, and they're expecting just, and it's an absolute sellout, and they're expecting people just to be hanging out around there tonight for this game. That's going to be insane in Pittsburgh.
Oh, it is. And, I mean, when you see that people are going to hang out outside watching the game on the big screen TV out there in 10-degree weather, I mean, that shows you what fans the sport has. And I'll tell you what, I like what Pittsburgh has done, what the Penguins have done. They're giving these vouchers for free food and half-off merchandise for the first few games, sort of their apology of the franchise to their fans. And I hope more teams follow suit with more of these type of fan appreciation days because the fans that are sticking it out, they deserve to be rewarded one way or another.
Yeah, and also, we were talking about, I'm sure he was talking about this Indians DH situation. And what are your thoughts? Do you feel we even need a DH?
You know, anymore, I'm going to say no because enough of your players that you have on your roster are going to be good enough hitters. The only reason that you would have someone who is a sole DH player would be if they were an old-timer like a Manny Ramirez, who you don't want in the field, period. But do you really want somebody who's 38 years old or something like that to be on your team just for hitting? I'm not sure if I trust that. I would rather have a couple more position players and kind of rotate. I mean, if you have two catchers, rotate the one, if they're both good hitters, one's DH today, and then when he needs a break, you switch out your DH and catcher for a game so the guy has a break behind the plate. I think it's better to mix and match.
Yeah, like I say, I think you could make the case, hey, give guys days off and let them hit. Give a Santana a day off. Give a Swisher a day off from the field. You can Kipnis if you have to, and still have their bat in the line, but give them a day off from the field. I mean, it can go a long way in keeping your players fresh as a long season goes on.
Oh, and here's the point, guys. How many DHs are in the Hall of Fame? Edgar Martinez is the only one I can even think of who's been even considered for a Hall of Fame position with a DH. Exactly.
Zero's the number.
Yeah, and Martinez is the only one even close, and if I'm not mistaken, he's gotten shot down and it wasn't even close.
Right, because most people, and justifiably so, don't think that DHs belong in the Hall of Fame.
If you don't do something in the field to justify it, now, I mean, does Manny Ramirez, I call Manny Ramirez a DH because when he's in the field, you might as well have 8 fielders. So you know what? At that point,
he played in the field though. He didn't play it well, but he did play in the field. He played enough in the field to be. I mean, he experienced the rigors of playing in the field every day, in order to justify being a Hall of Famer, in my opinion, anyway. Although he did use performance-enhancing drugs.
Well, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, that's something else we should get into later.
Yeah, let me ask you then. Does that surprise you that it was not even close in Hall of Fame votes this year with the steroids there?
A little bit. I was surprised that Mike Piazza didn't make it because Piazza never had the nobody looked at him sideways saying, okay, maybe he used, maybe he didn't. He never failed a test. Even post-career, nobody really said, oh, he's getting bigger, he's getting smaller. And he was the best offensive catcher in the game. I thought for sure he'd be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. So out of everybody that didn't make it, I mean, I can understand the scrutiny that goes with Bonds and Clemens. That's because of their suspected PED use, but not Mike Piazza. I'm surprised that Mike Piazza didn't make it.
Yeah, I like that with Piazza. And what kills me is that even those players like Clemens and Bonds, even if they were the ones who were doping, and the fact of the matter is they were still the best of the era. If you're going to punish because of the era, they're still the best of the era, and if everybody was using them and they were still the best, I don't know.
Hey, James, real quick, I know you like college basketball. I mean, I know you and I were tweeting around the same time that crazy ending between Butler and Gonzaga over the weekend. What teams really stick out to you this year in college basketball?
Well, the first team you always have to mention is Kentucky because they just reload with freshmen every year, and it's becoming a more freshman-oriented game that it's all about who you bring in every year. But those teams that do stick out with players who go the whole distance to their junior or senior year, Butler for sure. I mean, they've done it. They've made the finals twice with no real star players because they build a team chemistry for 4 years, and that's something that really comes in handy when you get to March. So I like to keep my eye on Butler. Gonzaga for the same reason. They looked very good in that game. But another team that always gives teams problems, especially in March, that always gets overlooked, Michigan State always looks to make a run to March Madness. And their point guard, Appling's having a great year. They have, honestly, in my opinion, the most athletic player in the country in Brandon Dawson. If they can limit turnovers, I see Michigan State making a Final Four run for sure.
Yeah, I'd say Michigan State's a good team. Switching gears and just talking fantasy-wise, have you started looking at fantasy baseball yet, or is that still a little too far away?
Still a little too far away, but right now you're listening to see, what's going on with people in the camps. You're going to start getting the grapefruit and cactus leagues going on, and even all this talk about, who might a team pick up, like the Indians looking maybe getting a DH. Then you start thinking, okay, should I go that route? Should I be thinking that way? You're always considering what to do. If you do have a draft this early, oh, God bless you guys, but at this point you're still just kind of, listening when it comes up, but you don't need to do too much research yet because so much changes when spring training begins.
Well, I'll switch to fantasy basketball just for one second. I just had a quick question. With the Cavs acquiring Maurice Spates, now someone who is a 4, was hard to get his minutes because he had basically 2 all-stars ahead of him. Everything sounds like he's going to be probably starting pretty soon, if not immediately, for the Cavaliers. Any fantasy value there? Maybe a pickup throw on the bench guy that could help you out, or what do you think?
I think he's worth the risk because every time he went in for Zach Randolph down there, he played well. I mean, I picked him up as a backup last year when he was backing up Randolph, and I played him more often than not. I think that, yeah, you're right. He will start on the bench, not only for the Cavs, but for your fantasy team as well. But I see him jumping ahead of Zeller pretty quickly, maybe Tristan Thompson as well. And, I mean, he's available in almost all of your leagues, in 99.9% of leagues right now because he was a backup. If you expect him to start like I do, he might be worth the risk to pick up right now. If you want to see a couple games, I wouldn't blame you. But I think that he will be a factor, and he will get 25 to 30 minutes starting or not. So I think he's well worth the risk at this point.
And since the injury of Varejao, I believe Tristan Thompson has been a very good fantasy basketball player for owners if they have him.
Yeah, both him and Zeller have been surprising numbers. I mean, one of the easiest ways to look at it is just in the minutes. When the minutes go up, the production's going to go up. And Tristan Thompson especially, he's getting you some more well-rounded, which works well in those roto leagues. He's getting you points. He's getting you rebounds, a couple assists here, block here and there. He's going all around, and for fantasy basketball, that's what's going to get you the wins. It's the all-around performance.
Well, so we actually have some Cavaliers with some fantasy value.
Unbelievable. I remember about a month ago we said it was Kyrie Irving only, and now we have now 3 others who are definitely worth having on your roster. Now, once Spates gets in there, we'll have to see. One of the 3 of them is probably going to drop off between Spates, Zeller, and and Tristan Thompson. One of them will drop off, and at that point, that's the one you got to get rid of. But I see 2 for sure being dynamic players, both on the court and in your fantasy lineups as well.
Talking to James Dotson of the 360 Sports Network. James, earlier in the show, we were discussing what athletes, past or present, you would like to meet, have a meet and greet with. Is there anybody that comes to mind for you?
For me, see, I rated this when you guys first said that. I'd probably say the one I'd want to meet would be Hines Ward, just because I loved watching him play. I loved his style of play. The physical wide receiver who wasn't afraid to dish out as much punishment as he received, and a guy who always ended up smiling. It was just somebody who I respected and loved watching growing up. So I probably would say Hines Ward is my pick. But there are so many guys who I would love to talk to. And let me just say this. Sometimes it's the lesser players when it comes to athletes, not the spotlight guys, who are the most fun to talk to. My niece and nephew went to a Pirates meet and greet thing for kids a few weeks ago, and you saw all these players who, wasn't the, hey, how you doing, blah, 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 sign a paper and go away. They were getting together with pictures. They were jumping around. They were goofing around with the kids. That's the sort of stuff that we don't see enough of in the media, and I think that's an absolutely wonderful, wonderful image to see these no-name players for the Pittsburgh Pirates who are going out there and doing good for everybody, and now my niece has a new favorite fan because of it.
Huh, that's a cool story.
Well, James, before we let you go, let's let you talk about the website here and tell people how they can get in contact with you guys.
Absolutely. We are 360 Sports Network. You can get to us through our website, 360sportsnetwork.com, following us on Facebook, on Twitter, at 3S Network. We want to do anything and everything to let the fans have a voice, let your voice be heard. You can always write articles for us, give us ideas what you want to talk about, something different. We don't want to hear about the NBA and the NHL every day. We want to hear something different. That's what we want you to be able to join us, write articles for us about wrestling, lacrosse, anything that you feel is newsworthy in the world of sports. We want to talk about it. So, again, 360sportsnetwork.com and at 3S Network. And if I may, guys, real quick, there's a really good fundraiser going out in Newcastle this weekend. It's called Super Brew. For the weekend before the Super Bowl, you can get information on it at the superbrewbrew.com. There are tickets being sold at the Crane Room, New Englander in Newcastle. It is an all-day event, 2 different sessions, one from 3 to 6, one from 8 to 11, and you're going to have homemade beers and over 50 different varieties of craft beer there. You spend $35 to get in the door, and you drink the rest of the night. Free entertainment and dueling pianos, just a great time, and all proceeds go to the American Cancer Society. So that would be a absolutely great moment. There are tickets still available. I think it would be something everybody should be interested in.
All right. Thank you, James. We'll talk to you next week, buddy.
All right. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
All right. James Dotson, 360